Leading up to the release of Joker Folie à Deux, director Todd Philips pulled something of a Rian Johnson, saying up front that the movie would divide viewers. And if the precedent Rian Johnson set with Star Wars The Last Jedi is anything to go by, that means it's probably going to piss off 90% of the audience, so you might consider that statement a red flag. But if anything, the bigger red flag is that the Hollywood press seems worried that the movie isn't going to perform well enough. Then you might wonder, why would that be a red flag? Well, let's find out. On October 2nd, The Hollywood Reporter asked, "Can Joker Folie à Deux sing in tune at the box office and overcome worrisome tracking?" While the article makes it clear why the tracking is so worrisome. Reading, "The Polarizing R-rated movie, which made its world premiere at the Venice Film Festival to mixed reviews," that's code for negative reviews, "is a genre-busting, music-infused sequel that strays outside the comfort zone of the typical fanboy-fueled comic book pick." That's code for that the Hollywood trade is worried that the movie is too sophisticated for what they consider the lowbrow, mouth-breathing pleb whose comfort zone they imagine is restricted to more conventional comic book movie fare. Similar sentiments were echoed by Variety, who state that, even with Lady Gaga, as if that somehow was supposed to be a draw, Joker 2 will struggle to match 2019's Joker in box office debut. Though to be fair, they emphasized that the movie bored both critics and audiences at the film festivals where it screened. The point I'm making though is that the industry portrays the possibility of this movie underperforming as something negative, meaning they want you to go see this. That's a marked contrast to when the first movie came out. Then the headlines were very different. Then, the entirety of not just the entertainment media complex, but media at large, actively wanted the movie to fail, and they practically threatened audiences that if you see this incel-celebrating movie, then some incel might very well come to your screening and bring plenty of guns and ammo with him. And then I'm not talking about the magazine, if you catch my drift. But why were they so worried about that? What had them freaked out so badly over this movie? Well, let's go back in time and look at a contemporary report in the guise of our video from November 19th of 2019. That's just after the movie was a certified global hit that had resonated profoundly with audiences worldwide, well beyond the quote-unquote incel population in the US that the media purported to be so worried about. There were so many who wanted this movie to fail. So many in the media, so many special interest groups. And it was made all the worse by director Todd Philips' comments on the political left and cancel culture, as previously covered. In an effort to undermine it, the movie was declared to be a symbol of disenfranchised white males, accused of celebrating incel culture, and to top it off, audiences were even warned that if you go see this, you might end up getting shot. As it turned out, audiences didn't listen to the warning, and I'm sure at least some were dismayed to find that no one got shot on the movie's march to $1 billion, not even with a birdshot. Instead, audiences loved this incredibly bleak and dreary movie. And you know what? The movie did become a symbol, but not of incels or disenfranchised white males. Instead, it has become a symbol of rebellion. It has become a symbol of resistance to oppression. The Joker mask has appeared in popular uprisings in everywhere from Chile to Beirut, from Iraq to Hong Kong. According to William Blank, historian and author of the book Superheroes: A Political History, Todd Philips' film about the Joker has real evocative power. In his words, "It echoes a form of protest against a political system that people believe is inflexible and not listening to the people." All in all, Todd Philips' Joker captured lightning in a bottle in every way. So, in short, the first Joker didn't appeal to just incels, but to anyone who felt marginalized and ignored by their respective establishment. This version of the Joker thus became a symbol of rebellion. But not anymore. Not with the sequel, which the very same outlets who try to scare you away from seeing the first movie are now lamenting that not many enough will show up for the sequel, which has Lady Gaga and everything. That flip is the red flag I was talking about, and that red flag would appear to have been justified. Enough reviews are now in, including from many in this corner of YouTube, that we can say with 100% certainty that everything that made audiences respond to the first movie has been stripped away from this one. The symbol that this Joker used to represent has been defanged. In our livestream, this new movie was described as the filmmakers bending the knee to the Hollywood establishment and practically apologizing for the original, because clearly this wannabe musical was not made for the same audience. As word of that spreads, expect that to be reflected in the box office, which would be even more embarrassing for Warner than you might think. Going into the original Joker back in 2019, the then Walter Hamada regime at Warner and DC had no faith in it, and only greenlit it because of its low $55 million budget and profit-sharing deals, which spread what little risk there was across several other parties. That way, when it flopped, as they expected it to do, Hamada could brag about the wise moves he had made to keep director Todd Philips happy and in the Warner stable, all while making the losses on his vanity project minuscule. But instead, the Joker became the surprise breakout hit film of the year, outgrossing even Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. And this made that whole profit-sharing thing a raw deal, because that meant Warner only got to keep a fraction of that total revenue. That's the risk with profit-sharing deals. They're awesome to have if you don't expect any profit, but less so if you suddenly have a breakout hit on your hands, as then you actually have to share that profit. And the more profit there is, the less the studio likes sharing it. And in the case of Joker, Warner probably would have to give up more of that billion-dollar revenue than they got to keep. This time then, Warner didn't enter any more such deals than they had to. This time, they took on much more of the risk themselves, while they increased the budget from $55 million on the first movie up to $200 million on this one. Given the early negative reaction though, it would appear that this was when they needed those profit-sharing deals, because depending on how this plays out, they might actually lose money on this. And considering what was done to the Joker in the sequel, that would fit rather nicely into the "you get what you fucking deserve" category. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.